All right, so today we're going to talk about WeWork and it's going public and how it's a little more complex than most. All right, so many of you have heard about the WeWork going public and kind of the IPO debacle and how it got pulled and all of that kind of stuff. One thing I want to do is just kind of run through their filing on the way that they were set up when they were going to go public. This is from the S1. It's an SEC filing that every company does before they go public. It's available on Edgar.com or .gov or .org or something like that. I'll put a link in the description below. But I just kind of wanted to run over this a little bit. In my last video on the hedge fund setup, the LP setup, we kind of went over the basics of that. I wanted to do that first just to start with that. And it's kind of interesting because this WeWork also utilizes that model to some degree with a little more complexity. So that's something, if you haven't, I would go watch that first. Otherwise, we'll get right into it. So the We company is what was going public. That is this top company, the holding company. This is new investors in, and existing investors, and they have a little different voting percentage, which we'll get to in a minute. Then there's the We Management LLC, the We Partnership LLC, that kind of things like that, the various special purpose vehicles down here below. Now, one of the reasons that they went with this setup, or there's two sort of main reasons that they went with this setup. The two main reasons are to have elevated like founder / early investor voting control. So in the IPO, the capital going in is not going to be sort of in lockstep really with the voting rights. And then they also wanted to lower the guaranteed, and I'm probably going to misspell this, lease liabilities. And they did that through these special purpose vehicles, which we'll get into in a second. So basically there's a holding company, the We holding company. There's the We Management Company, LLC. That's the general partner percentage partnership in the LP. And then there's the WeWork LLC coming out of that with the special purpose vehicles. So this We company partnership effectively is an LP with the MC set up here. There's other subsidiaries, and this MC LLC operates the We company partnership, which then has a WeWork LLC, WeWork Companies LLC, that has these subsidiary special purpose vehicles. Now, let's start with this founder voting control. So in this, you can see there's a note here. Again, this is just in the S1 filing. You can see that there's a note here that the percentage in this Class C common stock is based on a percentage that this leadership team has in this LP. So this is based on this percentage. You have increased voting control based on that. So that's going to give a disproportionate amount of the voting to these founders, to some of this founder membership team, which is running this LP effectively. Now you can see that there's all of these special purpose vehicles, the Asia joint ventures, and in these special purpose vehicles, there's again, we talked about the GP and management company collecting the fees for operating the fund, and in this case, you can see down here there's large fees going back up to this We Company LLC. So there's an 8% management fee for China Co. There's an 8% for Pacific Co., 8% for Japan Co., 12% for India Co. And I'll just go ahead and reference this third point here. It states that there 4% of that management fee for Japan Co. here is going to stay in there to fund expenses, etc. For SoftBank, which is the major backer financially for the WeWork, for the We company. Now, one thing we'll look at, so that's kind of discussing the founder control. And again, this is kind of just a basic overview. Then the next part is the lower guaranteed lease liability. So the way they do that, and it's gotten a little tighter after Enron. There used to be a lot of really interesting stuff you could do as far as leases go. But Now it's a little tighter, but the way they're doing it is they're signing the leases through these special purpose vehicles, which allows them to have a separate negotiation as to what the We company guarantees. Now, in their case, it's allegedly that they guarantee about 11% of the lease liabilities. The company will tell you that although they only legally guarantee 11%, that it has the We name on it. So any big issues, big defaults, the We company would look bad. Now, looking bad and paying up are two different things in a crisis or in a tough spot, but there is some truth to that. We'll look at this here, this global. Looking at this global real estate acquisition and management platform, ARC. You can see in this note here, number 2, it says that We owns 80% of the general partner and manager of ARC. So 80% of the general partner and management company for ARC. And again, based on structures that we talked about before, you can assume that there's LPs involved that funded it. And if you read about it, that is the case. It was a $3 billion capital raise to invest in the buildings that WeWork was renting. So in a way, it allows WeWork to take some depreciation up throughout the company and to some degree lease to themselves and kind of offset some of the ways the liabilities and cash flows occur. So that's kind of what that ARC is. Again, it's a $3 billion thing and allows them to go sort of buy into the buildings that they are leasing themselves. So again, I just kind of wanted to touch on these two things: founder voting control, lower guaranteed lease liabilities, and how this kind of basic setup did that. You hear a lot on CNBC about the companies and about the way it went public and some of these founder issues and the lease liabilities. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on this. Again, this is available in the S1 on Edgar. And this is just kind of a basic chart here. And I hope you enjoyed the discussion and maybe it sparks further research. Thank you.